Hi, Karen Curry Parker here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. We've been going through a lot of really deep inner work and emotional work and releasing work over the last couple of weeks. So if over the course of this week you've had the feeling like a lot of stuff has come up for you, a lot of raw emotions have been present, maybe you've been feeling a little out of whack. Part of it's the transits, part of it's we're going through what we call eclipse season in astrology. So a lot of stuff is coming up for us to release and heal, which is, as we see in human design, a natural part of the creative cycle. We are deeply creative beings, and part of our experience in the world as manifested fragments of quantum possibilities is we are constantly in a state of creation. Everything you do, every movement you make, every day, every week, every year is part of a creative cycle. And what we see in human design is that there are predictable creative cycles that happen over the course of the year, and all of those cycles have cycles of momentum and pushing and creating, and then cycles of pulling back and resting and integrating and tweaking, and then going back out into pushing and doing and being. So, there's always sort of this push and pull, forward movement and backward movement. So I think sometimes we have this idea that momentum is going to be strong and powerful and non-stop, and there's sort of this glory in somebody that pushes and pushes to that degree and is always on. And the truth is, the natural process, the natural design of humans is all about movement and repose. I know I've been talking about this a lot, but I want you to understand that we've been in the repose cycle of our creative year, or our creative quarter, and we're just kind of coming up to the end of that repose piece, and married with it this week we've had this eclipse energy. So there's been this last sort of push of, what do I need to release? What do I need to let go of? How do I need to redefine myself? And certainly not only in the regular cycles of the year is this a theme, certainly this year it's a huge, huge theme. This is a year that's really calling upon us energetically to redefine who are we, who do we perceive ourselves to be, what's our story, and most importantly, and this is so key, your mindset. And I know you've heard me say this already a billion times this year, and you're going to hear me say it again this year over and over again. Your mindset, what you believe about yourself, about your story, about your life, about what's possible for you, is going to determine how you redefine yourself and how you move forward from this year. When we look at the creative process and the energies involved in manifesting a reality that you love, the key element here is your emotions. Your emotions are vibrational. Your vibrations created by your emotions are going to determine what you draw into your reality. The thing that influences our emotions is our mind, and that's strictly the purpose of the mind. This is not a place for you to make decisions. This is not a place for you to figure things out. This is not a place for you to make a plan even necessarily. Your purpose, the main purpose of your mind, is to hold a mindset that triggers a specific emotional response so that you can draw into your life experience, so that you can create, as a creative being, what you want to create in your life, so that your life becomes a reflection of your emotional energy, and the mind is the thermostat, okay? The thermostat for your emotional vibration. So this week until the weekend, and the weekend we have a lot of shifting happening, so next week is going to be a whole different course of energy, but this week I really want you to pay attention to, how are you thinking? Are you excited? Are you deeply entrenched in the belief that the universe is friendly? Or do you struggle with, the despair that sometimes can happen when we don't know how things are going to manifest, or we feel like it's not possible for us, or we slip into bitterness or frustration or disappointment or even anger? I want you to really stay attuned to how are you thinking, because this is a really great time for you to get in there and get your mental screwdriver and unscrew the plates to the old programming and insert some new programming. Because if you can change the way you think and trigger a new set of emotional responses, if you can get excited and stay deeply rooted in the belief that there is a quantum field of possibility out there that is infinite, meaning there are an infinite number of possibilities available to you, and whatever you're choosing right now is only a teeny tiny minuscule portion of what's possible for you. So if you don't like where you're at, then change your mindset so that you can open yourself up to creating something, to plucking or collapsing something completely different out of the quantum field for yourself in a brand new way. But to do that, you got to shift your mindset. You got to shift your belief systems. You got to start thinking differently. And the mind is the most difficult thing to change, and it's the most fluid thing in human design. When we look at how the mind is configured in human design, most of us have an open mind, meaning most of us are subject to an enormous amount of variability in the way in which we think. So it takes a lot of training, a lot of practice to change the mind. So I'm going to encourage you to change your mindset this week with just by picking one small thing to change the way you think about. Just pick one area in your life that you want to change the way you think about. Maybe it'll be relationships, maybe it's money. And I know, as hokey as this sounds, and trust me, I roll my eyes at this sometimes, particularly when I'm in a place of struggling. Think about what you're grateful for. Look at what is working. See if you can't go on what I call a miracle hunt and find evidence of the completely serendipitous, unexpected magic in your life where things have shown up in a way that have been way better than you expected, where your behind has been saved in the 11th hour, where magic has unfolded and things have turned out better than you thought. I want you to find evidence that you are fully supported. Find evidence that the universe is friendly, that people do love you, that you are valuable, that you are powerful, that you are capable of knowing what's truth for you, that you're wise, that you're grounded and knowledgeable about your life. Find something in your reality to be grateful for. Or if you can't get to the grateful point, at least acknowledge it, pay attention to it, and focus on those places where things are working. That's oftentimes the small opening that can lead to a bigger explosion in a shift in mindset. Don't get despairing and try to tackle your whole brain, because that won't last for very long, and that's just the nature of how we're hardwired. Find one or two little things to work on. Shift your mindset around that and start to see how your emotional energy shifts in alignment with that mindset change, and keep going out into your world. I know this is basic stuff. I know a lot of you have learned this for years and years and years. And the nature of life is like this. You're never always going to be happy. You're never going to always be sad. You know, there's a lot of variability, and we see this in the human design chart. There's a huge amount of variability in the human experience. And if we want to grow, if we want to expand, if we want to evolve, we've got to deal with struggle, sometimes challenge, and to recognize that when you hit those challenge points, you know, obviously the default programming kicks in. The old thinking has a tendency to sneak in. You know, we always say, new level, same devil, right? Your old thought patterns creep in. As you grow and expand, the tendency is going to want to fall back on the default. This is the week to go, okay, wait. Where do I need to shift my default thinking? How do I need to really change the way in which I'm presenting myself, I'm thinking about myself, I'm being aware of myself, what stories am I telling about myself? Really get into that mindset piece and see if you can't shift the emotional vibration and allow yourself to align with receiving something better, bigger, more joyful, more juicy, more abundant in every area of your life. That's the key for this week, and that's going to get you to the weekend. And if you can do this work, you're going to lay the foundations for creating something new, because on Sunday we slip into the gate 36 and the gate 6, so we're entering into, for the next week, a cycle of really emerging into new experiences, emerging into the leading edge of something different. So if you've been feeling like, oh, I need a change, I need a shift, it's here. It's here. Just got to do that little bit of mindset shift so you can move into that place. The gate 47, which is the mindset gate, which is in the earth this week, is going to come back and play with us next week in a couple of different planetary positions, and it's still in the node. So don't think just because we moved to the weekend that the whole mindset thing is done and you've got it handled and mastered. You still are going to need to keep working on this. And I'm not going to lie, this is going to be the year when getting reign over your mind is going to be like going to a mental rodeo all year. The challenge this year is to grab those reins and hold on and do your best to steer your mind to where you need it to be so that you can trigger that emotional response, so that you can be in that place where you understand and know the universe is infinitely friendly and here to support you in creating whatever you decide. And it's really all about what are you deciding. So that being said, hang on. Next week gets much more interesting and exciting, much more new and adventurous stuff heading for us next week. Do your work this week. Get ready. Stay on your horse. Don't get bucked off on the mental rodeo. And I will talk to you next week. I hope you have a really great one.